Sir, I need you to come with me. We've received a complaint.
I'm sorry, officer. A complaint about what?
I'm watching the game.
I don't care who you are. You don't belong here. Show me ID.
Officer, I'm Dr. Whitmore, the superintendent. I attend every home game.
Huh. Okay, sure. IDs can be fake. You're coming with me now.
You can verify who I am. My name's embroidered on this shirt.
Sir, I need you to come with me. We've received a complaint. Friday night, September 23rd, 2022. The stadium lights illuminated a crowd of 3,000 people cheering for their hometown team. The smell of popcorn and hot dogs drifted from the concession stand. The marching band played in the distance. A man in khakis and a district polo shirt looked up from the game, confusion crossing his face. "I'm sorry, officer. A complaint about what? I'm watching the game." "I don't care who you are. We have a complaint that you don't belong here. I need to see ID." The man reached slowly into his pocket, his movements deliberate and calm. Around them, parents and students began to turn their attention from the field to the confrontation unfolding in the stands. What happened in the next 8 minutes would cost one man his career and expose a pattern of behavior that had been ignored for 4 years. Dr. Marcus Whitmore, 51, had spent 27 years in education. He held a bachelor's degree in secondary education from Howard University, a master's in educational administration from Columbia University, and a doctorate in educational leadership from the University of Pennsylvania, where he graduated with distinction. He had worked his way up from high school English teacher to department chair, then principal, then assistant superintendent. 3 years ago, he was appointed superintendent of Riverside Unified School District. Under his leadership, the district's graduation rate increased from 78% to 91%. He closed the achievement gap between white and minority students by 40%. He secured $14 million in state funding for technology upgrades and expanded advanced placement programs to all 6 district high schools. Dr. Whitmore oversaw 12 schools, 8,400 students, and a $127 million annual budget. That budget included the district's police department, 7 officers, and 1 chief. Dr. Whitmore had direct authority to approve their funding, and he participated in hiring and termination decisions for the police chief. The school board president described him as the most transformational leader this district has seen in 30 years. His commitment to students is absolute. Dr. Whitmore had grown up 20 miles from Riverside. He was married with 2 sons who attended district schools. He volunteered with the local Boys and Girls Club, mentored aspiring teachers, and was active in his church. He attended every home football game. It was a tradition. He believed students needed to see their superintendent present, engaged, invested. On September 23rd, none of that would matter. Officer Derek Paulson, 33, badge number 4187, had been with the Riverside School District Police Department for 4 years. He grew up in neighboring Oakmont, the son of a county sheriff's deputy. He joined the school district police after 3 years working mall security. At the academy, he graduated in the middle of his class with no special commendations. His current assignment: school resource officer rotating between the district's 2 high schools and security patrol at district events. His personnel file described him as someone who maintains appropriate presence and follows departmental procedures. His supervisors considered him adequate. Paulson considered himself a good cop who took his job seriously. But there was something else in his file. 7 complaints filed over the previous 3 years. 6 of the 7 came from black parents or community members. The complaints alleged unnecessary aggression with students, racial profiling at athletic events, and intimidating questioning of parents. Every single complaint had been investigated by Lieutenant Raymond Chen, Paulson's direct supervisor under the previous police chief. Every single one was dismissed as unfounded or unsubstantiated. The language was consistent. Complainant could not provide sufficient evidence. An officer followed proper procedures. 4 months ago, a new police chief was hired. He had not yet conducted a comprehensive review of personnel files. Officer Paulson believed he was just doing his job. Friday, September 23, 2022. 7:45 p.m. Temperature 64 degrees, clear autumn sky. Riverside High's homecoming game against crosstown rival Lincoln. The stadium was packed, nearly 3,000 people in the stands. Families, students, alumni. The crowd was diverse, reflecting the district's demographics. 42% white, 28% Hispanic, 22% black, 8% Asian, and other. Dr. Whitmore had arrived at 7:00 p.m. for the 7:30 kickoff. He sat in his usual spot, the superintendent's reserved section near the 50-yard line. He wore khakis and a Navy district polo with his name embroidered above the pocket. Dr. Marcus Whitmore, superintendent. His nephew, a junior, played linebacker. At 7:42 p.m., an anonymous call came into the district police dispatch. "There's a suspicious man in the stands. He doesn't belong here. He's making people uncomfortable." The dispatcher asked for specifics. What was the person doing? What made them suspicious? He doesn't look like he should be here. Someone should check it out." No description of threatening behavior. No mention of any criminal activity. Just a feeling. Officer Paulson, stationed near the main gate, received the call. He scanned the crowd. His eyes locked on Dr. Whitmore. Dr. Whitmore was watching a third down play when Officer Paulson stepped directly in front of him, blocking his view. The officer's hand rested on his duty belt, his posture confrontational. "Sir, I need you to come with me. We've received a complaint." Whitmore looked up, confused. His first thought was that something had happened to one of his students. An injury, a fight. "I'm sorry, officer. Is there a problem? Is one of the students okay?" "I don't care who you are," Paulson said. "We have a complaint that you don't belong here. I need to see ID." Whitmore's expression shifted from confusion to controlled concern. "Officer, I'm Dr. Whitmore, the superintendent. I attend every home game." "Just show me ID, sir." Whitmore reached slowly into his pocket and pulled out his district identification badge, the same badge he wore to work every day. It hung on a blue lanyard with the district logo. The badge featured his photo, his full name, and in bold letters, Superintendent of Schools. He held it at eye level. "This is my district ID. I'm the superintendent." He also pulled out his driver's license, showing his local address just 3 miles from the stadium. Officer Paulson glanced at both IDs for less than 3 seconds. "IDs can be faked. Anyone can make a badge. You need to come with me for questioning." Whitmore's voice remained calm, but his jaw tightened. "Officer, you can call the main office. You can verify who I am. My name is embroidered on this shirt. I've attended every home game for 3 years." Paulson's voice rose. "Sir, you're being uncooperative. Stand up now." People in the surrounding seats had stopped watching the game. A mother with 2 young children leaned over to her husband. "That's Dr. Whitmore. What's going on?" Whitmore stood up slowly, keeping his hands visible. "Officer, I'm complying, but I want to be clear. I'm Dr. Marcus Whitmore. I'm the superintendent of this district. I have every right to be here. What reasonable suspicion do you have that I've committed a crime?" "Don't lawyer me," Paulson snapped. "You're creating a disturbance. Turn around and put your hands behind your back." "You're really going to handcuff me in front of 3,000 people at my own district's game? You can cooperate, or we can add resisting arrest." Whitmore felt the familiar weight of controlled anger, the kind that came from years of navigating spaces where his presence was questioned, his credentials doubted. But he kept his voice steady, for the students watching, for the body camera recording. "I'm complying under protest." Voices rose around them. "That's Dr. Whitmore. That's the superintendent. What are you doing?" Whitmore took a deliberate breath. He made a choice. Comply completely, document everything. "I'm complying under protest. My name is Dr. Marcus Whitmore. I am the superintendent of Riverside Unified School District. I approve your department's budget. I have oversight authority of your police chief. You are making a mistake." The handcuffs clicked. Officer Paulson's hands paused for 3 seconds. His face flushed, but he continued. "I'm responding to a complaint. I'm doing my job." Whitmore, now in handcuffs, looked directly at the officer's body camera. Then do your job correctly. What was the specific complaint? What crime am I suspected of committing? I want your name and badge number. You'll get all that at the security office. As Paulson led him down the stadium steps, Whitmore spoke clearly for the camera. For the record, I am being removed from a school district game. I am the superintendent. I have identified myself with district credentials. I have committed no crime. This is unlawful detention. Behind them, a crowd began to follow. The security office was a small room beneath the bleachers. A desk, 3 chairs, security monitors showing different angles of the stadium. Within 90 seconds, 3 assistant principals and the school board president arrived, all demanding to know what was happening. Margaret Chen, the board president, stepped forward. Officer Paulson, that is Dr. Whitmore, he's our superintendent. Remove those handcuffs immediately. Paulson's realization was beginning to dawn, but he doubled down. I was responding to a complaint. I was doing my job. Whitmore, still handcuffed, began his systematic dismantling. What was the specific complaint, officer? What exactly was I reported doing? Paulson stammered. Someone said you looked suspicious. What reasonable, articulable suspicion did you have that I was committing a crime? The call said, you observed me engaged in any criminal activity. No, but did you verify the complaint before approaching me? Did you call for additional information? Did you attempt to confirm my identity through any database before detaining me? Silence. I showed you my district identification badge and my driver's license. Why did you dismiss them without verification? I thought they could be fake. Whitmore's voice remained controlled, but each word was precise. You detained me without reasonable suspicion. That's a Fourth Amendment violation. You handcuffed me without probable cause. That's false arrest. You dismissed my identification without attempting verification. That's negligence. You did this in public in front of students and community members. That's a civil rights violation and professional misconduct. The assistant superintendent entered. The chief is on his way. He wants the body camera footage preserved immediately. Officer Paulson's face went pale. Whitmore fixed him with a steady gaze. I want a formal investigation. I want this footage preserved. And I want to know how many other people you've done this to, because I guarantee I'm not the first. The body camera had captured every second. 8 minutes and 43 seconds from initial contact to the moment the arriving supervisor finally removed the handcuffs. The audio of the anonymous 911 call was obtained within hours. The caller, who refused to give a name, had described only a black man in the stands who looks like he doesn't belong. No description of threatening behavior, no specific actions, just race and presence. The power dynamic was fully exposed. Dr. Whitmore had personally hired the new police chief 3 months earlier. He had attended Chief Morrison's swearing-in ceremony. 2 weeks before this incident, he had signed the police department's annual budget authorization. Officer Paulson was escorted from the stadium by a supervisor. Within 2 hours, he was placed on administrative leave. His badge and service weapon were surrendered that night. Dr. Whitmore made a choice. He returned to the stands and watched the rest of the game. He missed the halftime ceremony where he was scheduled to present the homecoming court. It was a small but tangible consequence of unlawful detention. By Monday morning, the story was everywhere. The new police chief, Anthony Morrison, assigned 2 senior investigators that Sunday. Their mandate was clear: find everything. The investigation took 6 weeks. They reviewed 8 hours of body camera footage from Paulson's recent shifts, 23 dispatch records, personnel files dating back 4 years, security camera footage from the stadium, 4 different angles, cell phone video from 7 parents. They interviewed 23 witnesses from the game. Dr. Whitmore provided a detailed, 9-page statement. He participated in a 3-hour interview. He requested a comprehensive review of all of Officer Paulson's activities. Paulson was interviewed twice. His defense: I felt threatened by his demeanor. I was following my training. I had reasonable suspicion based on the call. The body camera showed something different. A calm, professional man providing credentials and asking legitimate questions. But the investigators found something else. 7 previous complaints. Every single one involved a black community member. Every single complaint followed the same pattern: vague call or assumption-based stop, dismissal of credentials, escalation when questioned. All 7 had been investigated by Lieutenant Raymond Chen, Paulson's supervisor under the previous chief. All 7 were marked unfounded or unsubstantiated within 3 days of filing. None were forwarded to the district attorney or external review. The investigators reached out to all 7 complainants. Complaint number 1, 2019, Angela Morris, 38, nurse. Paulson questioned her aggressively during school pickup, demanded ID while white parents walked past freely. Complaint: unfounded, no corroborating witnesses. Complaint number 2, 2020, James Richardson, 17, student athlete. Paulson stopped him leaving football practice, searched his backpack without consent. Complaint: unsubstantiated student's word against officers. Complaint number 3, 2021, David Chen, 42, school board member. Paulson demanded his ID when entering the district office for a public meeting. Complaint: reasonable mistake, officer didn't recognize board member. Complaint number 4, 2022, June, Tamara Johnson, 29, teacher. Paulson stopped her in a school hallway, questioned whether she really worked here despite her visible staff badge. Complaint: unfounded, officer was new to that building. The investigators conducted a statistical analysis. Over 4 years, Paulson initiated stops of black individuals at a rate 4.7 times higher than their representation in the district. The district was 22% black, 78% of Paulson's self. Initiated stops involved black individuals. The investigation report concluded: Officer Paulson demonstrated a clear and consistent pattern of treating black community members as inherently suspicious while affording white community members the presumption of legitimacy. This pattern was identified in complaints as early as 2019, but was systematically dismissed without adequate investigation. Dr. Philip Zhao, a criminal justice professor at State University, reviewed the case. This is textbook racial profiling, enabled by inadequate supervision and deliberate institutional protection. Officer Derek Paulson was terminated 49 days after the incident. The police union initially filed a grievance challenging the termination. After reviewing the body camera footage and pattern evidence in a pre-arbitration meeting, the union withdrew it. The union president issued a brief statement: "We have a duty to represent our members, but we cannot defend actions that violate constitutional rights and departmental policy." The county prosecutor reviewed the case for potential criminal charges but declined to file. No criminal statute clearly applied, though civil rights were clearly violated. Dr. Whitmore filed a federal civil rights lawsuit under 42 U.S.C. Section 1983. The district's insurance carrier settled for $1.35 million rather than go to trial. The settlement included a rare admission that Officer Paulson's actions violated Dr. Whitmore's Fourth Amendment rights and district policy. The State Police Standards Commission held a hearing on Paulson's law enforcement certification. They voted 8-0 to permanently revoke it. Paulson cannot work as a police officer anywhere in the state. The National Decertification Database now flags his revoked status, making law enforcement employment virtually impossible in any state. 14 months after termination, Paulson filed for bankruptcy. He moved to Arizona. He now works for a private security company in a non-law enforcement capacity. He has never publicly apologized. The 7 previous complainants were all contacted. 3 filed civil lawsuits. All 3 settled for undisclosed amounts. But Paulson's termination was just the beginning. Lieutenant Raymond Chen, who had dismissed all 7 complaints, was forced to retire. An independent review found he had failed in his supervisory responsibility to identify and address problematic patterns of behavior. The financial toll: $1.35 million in settlement to Dr. Whitmore, $430,000 in legal defense costs, $485,000 in settlements to 3 other complainants, $180,000 in increased insurance premiums, $255,000 for compliance and reform implementation. Total: $2.7 million. The district implemented comprehensive reforms. Number 1. Independent oversight. All complaints now investigated by the County Sheriff's Civil Rights Unit, not internal staff. 30-day maximum timeline with written findings required. Number 2. Early warning system. Automated software tracks all stops, use of force, and complaints by officer. Automatic alerts when any officer exceeds departmental averages. Number 3. Data transparency. Monthly public reports analyze stops by race and ethnicity to identify disparities. Any officer showing disproportionate patterns faces automatic review. Number 4. Body camera accountability. Footage automatically uploaded to secure server cannot be edited. Supervisors must review a random 10% of each officer's footage monthly. Any complaint triggers immediate external review. Number 5. Training overhaul. Implicit bias training increased from 2 hours annually to 40 hours. De-escalation training increased from 8 to 24 hours. Constitutional law training, 16 hours annually on Fourth Amendment, reasonable suspicion and probable cause. Number 6. Supervisor accountability. Supervisors now held responsible for patterns in their units. Complaint patterns trigger automatic supervisor review. Annual performance reviews include community trust metrics. Number 7. Civilian Review Board. 7-member board appointed by school board with quarterly reporting requirements. Board has subpoena power and can recommend disciplinary action. Number 8. The Whitmore Protocol. New verification procedure requiring officers to attempt credential verification before any detention at district events. The department conducted a comprehensive review of all personnel files. 127 previous complaints were re-examined. 7 other officers showed problematic patterns. 4 were terminated. 3 were placed under intensive supervision. 12 additional complainants received formal apologies and financial compensation. The reforms spread. 14 other school districts in the state adopted similar policies. The case became required viewing in 8 police academies nationwide. Dr. Marcus Whitmore is still superintendent of Riverside Unified School District. His contract was renewed twice since the incident. He now consults with 23 school districts nationwide on police oversight and accountability. He has testified before the state legislature on school police reform. The incident, he says, showed me that credentials and authority don't protect you from bias. Nothing does, which is why we need systems, transparent data, independent oversight, real accountability, not just individual officers with good intentions. The reforms have worked. Complaints of racially biased stops dropped 67% in the first year. The demographic disparity ratio dropped from 4.7 to 1 to 1.3 to 1. Body camera evidence has exonerated 11 officers falsely accused and led to the termination of 4 officers who violated policy. The case is now studied in police academies, law schools, and civil rights organizations across the country. Dr. Whitmore still attends every home game, still sits in the same section near the 50-yard line, still wears his district polo with his name embroidered on the pocket. But now when officers pass by, they wave. They know who he is, they know what happened, and they know that assumptions based on race have consequences. The body camera footage from September 23, 2022 has been viewed in training sessions by over 50,000 law enforcement officers. 50,000 officers who now understand that he looks suspicious isn't reasonable suspicion. It's racial profiling, and it ends careers. Evidence doesn't lie, bias does. If this story opened your eyes to how profiling operates even within institutions that should know better, share it. These stories need to reach people who have experienced something similar and people who haven't yet. Know your rights. The Fourth Amendment requires reasonable, articulable suspicion based on specific facts, not feelings, not assumptions, not "he doesn't belong." Document everything. Body cameras protect good officers and expose bad ones. Demand accountability. Real accountability, not just apologies but systemic change. You're not alone. Thanks for watching.